Hi, and welcome to Authority Marketing Live. I'm Melanie Hirschhorn. I am so excited to be bringing you this incredible guest today. And full disclosure, I was listening to her podcast because one of my mentors was a guest on it. And I was like, I need to meet this woman because she is. She's the closer, and you'll see what I mean when I introduce her. So, Christine Kloser with a K, I'll tell you a little bit about her. So, she helps people write the book they were born to write and transform the world with their words. And those are very impactful. That's a very impactful statement. And I am so excited to bring her on. So, Christine, hello.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you so much. And I know that, you've been across the continent a couple times in the last little while. So I'm so glad that you're in your office ready to chat. And why don't you start by telling, you're an author in your own right, but you also help authors. So why don't you give us sort of a background about what you do and what makes you so fantastic?
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Melanie, for leading in with thinking that I'm fantastic. But we do.
Well,
I've been helping people write and publish books and transform their lives by becoming an author since 2004. So I've been doing this for quite a while. And really what we do over here through both of our companies, we have a coaching company based on my award-winning Get Your Book Done program, where we help people write transformational books. And then we have a independent publishing company where we then will publish those transformational books for clients that are a good fit for us. But really what we're all about is helping people truly liberate their voice, bring their message forward in the world, and shine their light, in the way that they know they were born to do. But using words, using the powerful vehicle as a book, which I think is one of the most, sacred and powerful forms of communication is the written word, especially in book form. And we help people tap into that and the powerful process and experience of writing the book and getting their message out in the world. And then, helping to launch those books in the world, but then watching the ripple effect. Like just earlier today, I had a mastermind call for some of my publishing clients. And, one of them was talking about, the speech he just did on TEDx and that he nailed, roaring, standing ovation. So, that wouldn't have been possible without the work that we did to help him really make sure that he was writing the most powerful, transformational, impactful book that he could write for what he wanted that book to do for him and for his readers and, for his business and in the world. So we take a very high level approach to book writing.
And I love that you talked about the after, right? Because when clients come to me, they have often written the book and then they're kind of like, well, now what do I do with this amazing thing? They often get focused on I want to be an Amazon bestseller. And that's great, but that doesn't necessarily grow your influence online. And that's where I come in to help with that. And I love that you're talking about a client that is standing on a TED speaking stage and telling his story. And you're right, the book itself, that's the basis, it's the foundation for all the things that authors want to eventually do. And I love that you talked about that. So what is your favorite kind of book to help bring into the world? You said transformation, but that's kind of a broad thing. So let's narrow it down a little.
Okay. Well, for us, what we consider a transformational book is it's written by an author who is willing to take on the book writing process through 4 lenses. And, we've had people write fiction. We've had people write memoir. We have them write business books, finance books, personal growth, memoir, all of it. But the types of books that we really love aren't so much about the books as it is about the authors and where they're coming from. And those 4 lenses that that our best authors are willing to look through in the process is to see and really identify for themselves and understand that this book will transform in 4 different ways. It will transform them. So our favorite author is someone who is willing to look at the transformations that they want for themselves as a result of going through the process of writing this book.
Okay,
that's
so
the first
personal
lens.
Transformation. That's one.
Yes. And, we have so many people come to us no one ever asked me that. I've done all sorts of, book stuff, but no one ever asked me what transformation I want. And over here in our world, like that's where it starts, because when you get that transformation, which every single author we've ever published, they look back at that first question that I asked them is, what transformation do you want for yourself? And when they wrote it, they never imagined, like they wrote it, but they didn't really imagine that it was actually possible and it would really happen. But across the board, they look back, they're like, oh my gosh, like that actually happened and even more. So that's why we start there. And then, of course, the second lens that our favorite authors look through is really connecting with the transformation that they want their readers to have.
Right.
Like really, like where's their before picture and where's their after picture? That's another important lens. The third lens that we want our best clients and the most amazing authors to look through is the transformation that they want this book to bring for their business. Because we have seen over and over and over again that when you design and develop the book in a way to lead to the transformation that you want in your business, whether that's getting the phone to ring with free consultations, getting people into a live event, moving people into a program, or getting them onto a subscriber list so that later on they can come into a program. Like the book can be developed in a way to really help bring those transformations that you want for your business into your reality. So they need to be willing to look at that. And then the fourth lens that our best authors look through also is the transformation that ultimately they would love to see in the world as a result of writing this book. So like if the people who needed your book read it, implemented it, lived it, did it, like how would the world be different? So, it's not a particular type of book necessarily. All these books behind me and lots more, are books that our clients have written. They cover a vast variety of topics. The similarity is who's writing them and are they willing to take this on as a transformational process? And if they're a yes for that, even though they're not quite sure what that really means, as long as they're a yes and it feels right, like we'll rock their world and help them write and publish and launch and market, the best possible book that they could write.
That is fantastic. And I love that. I want to touch on the fourth pillar that you mentioned, the fourth lens of transforming the world as a whole. And I think that is what gets us as business owners, as authors. I'm not in that category yet, but that gets people out of bed every single day.
Yeah.
Reminding them why they do what they do. Because, as a business owner, not every day is, rainbows and unicorns. And some days you're like, what am I doing? I should just go work at Starbucks. But other days you're like, wow, this is why I'm meant to be here. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. But I feel like even on those bad days, that reminding yourself of your mission and why you're putting this book out into the world it's vital. It's like the most important thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that, it's not an easy journey. Not only is business, ownership challenging, but writing a book, man, that could really push people up against like their greatest fears, their biggest barriers, their deepest doubts. Like it can bring up all that stuff because you're writing something that's going to be an extension of you out in the world, right? You're going to show a part of yourself. You're going to reveal a part of yourself on those pages that maybe you're not super comfortable with yet having out in the world. So a lot of stuff comes up, and we do a lot of foundation building with our clients over here, because if the foundation isn't strong and they aren't connected to those whys and the real transformations that they want in these lenses, they could hit a bump in the road. And if the foundation's not strong enough, they could throw in the towel. And that's devastating, because if the book is seated in your mind, your heart, your soul to write, then there's a reason why it's there. And it's because there's people who need it, right? Whether that's 1 million people, 1,000 people, 100 people. If you transform 100 lives with your book, like you could create a whole, beautiful business out of that.
Right.
But if you don't have the foundation in place and you're not connected to those deeper whys, some of those speed bumps will knock you out as an author. But if the vision is clear and the mission is clear and like why at a deep level you're doing this, you can move through anything.
I love that. I totally endorse that. I totally agree with that. Now, let's say you have all those things in place, your why, the story. I mean, what if it takes you like a year to write the book? Is that bad? Is that
not at all? Not at all. And it's sad because in today's world, right? Of like microwave, immediate gratification, like everything has to happen now. And like tomorrow or even an hour from now, it's just like every movie has to be on demand. Like we can't wait for anything. And there's a lot of messaging out there in the author space, that you need to be able to write your book in a weekend, make it a bestseller in a weekend, like write your book in a day without even writing any words. There's all this messaging that authors are getting that are making a lot of them think like, well, if I can't do it in a weekend, is there something wrong with me?
Or should I bother at all?
Right, right. And let me tell you, the books that you see on the top of the New York Times bestseller list, the ones that are on the shelves, at the bookstore when you walk into the bookstore, not a single one of those books that you see was written in a weekend. The books that you see were written over months, if not years, right? Like the best books don't just pop out. They take time. They're like fine wine. If and I always say this, and it's true. Some people don't care so much about quality. Like, I just need a book, I need it fast, it's going to be a business card, I don't care really what it looks like, and just pump it out, then fine. But I'm sure the types of clients that you Melanie, work with, and certainly the types of clients that we work with over here, like that's not appealing to us, and that's not appealing to our authors.
Right.
Our authors are looking for quality, and quality takes time.
It sure does.
The book needs to breathe and evolve and grow. You can't write your best book in a weekend. No way. It's not possible. So yeah, a year. I just had someone today, they're getting ready to turn their manuscript in for publishing. They're working with our publishing company. 2 years. It took 2 years, because it was a process. So life happened in between. So please don't beat yourself up if it's taking a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't keep it moving forward, you might just want to ask yourself, like, I want to do this. Why am I not doing this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's just an inquiry. You don't want to judge yourself for that, but you just want to inquire and be like, what's going on that I'm not doing what I say I want to do with my book? And work through that. And then usually on the other side of that inquiry, like, you can get back to writing and moving the book forward.
Yeah, I love that. And, there's so many opportunities for authors. The ability to grow your influence online is astronomical, and you want to be able to present something that you're proud of.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, I was working with a client of mine. I was reading his book, and I was only the third person in the entire world to read his book, and it's fantastic. And so that's one of the perks of my jobs. But as accomplished as he is, and as wonderful as the book is, he was still a little hesitant to have me read it, because it's like you said, it's that vulnerable side. It's that I'm putting out my personal experiences, my personal feelings, my thoughts into a book for people to consume, and I have no control now.
Yeah.
I have no control. So do you find that your clients, they often have to stop and go, okay, I'm going to give up control? And what do you say to them about that?
Yeah, there is a point where you have to just let go and allow for the cards to fall where they fall. And I always tell my clients, like, you can write your best book and it's amazing, but it's not going to be for everyone. There will be people out there who love it and praise you and thank you and send you notes of gratitude about the difference that your book made in their life. There will be other people who are like, who are they? What is this? This is whatever they say, it's been written already. Who are they to write this? Who cares? So you have to be prepared for both sides of the spectrum and to stand strong in what in your truth, in your message, in the wisdom that you're here to share on the pages of your book. And understand, just like ice cream flavors, not everyone loves pistachio ice cream, right? Some people, best thing since sliced bread. Other people like, why would they even make pistachio ice cream?
Right.
There's nothing wrong with the ice cream. It's just people have different preferences, right? Pistachio ice cream is just pistachio ice cream. Your book is your book, and different people will have different preferences. Some will love it and some won't love it. But if you write the right book and you write a quality book and you get your best and didn't just crank something out, like the factory model just to get something done, anyone can say anything about the book. But if you've really done it right, you ought to be able to stand strong in that. And maybe for a moment you're like, oh, dang, I got a bad review on Amazon. But then return yourself to your center, return yourself back to your truth that, okay, it's a good book and it's just not for that person, but it's for all these other people.
Exactly. And when it comes to marketing, you don't want something to be for everybody, because if you're trying to
Yeah.
speak to everybody, you end up talking to nobody, really.
Yes.
So I love that you empower people to really stand strong in their message and trust themselves. Because I feel like a lot of this has to do with trust in yourself.
Mm-hmm. It does. It absolutely does. And I feel like the way that we coach people through the writing process and even through the publishing process on the publishing side of things,
Mhm.
every step of the way, it really is about trusting the process
Mhm.
and, trusting the journey. And if you do that as you're in the writing and as you're in the publishing, as you're, in the process of developing your launch plan, your marketing plan, what have you, then when it comes out into the world, like you're just in that state of trusting the process. Some are going to love it, some aren't going to love it, and it's okay. Like it doesn't mean that it's no less of a book, but
Right.
it's no less great because it wasn't someone's flavor. They didn't like pistachio,
It just wasn't pistachio.
Mhm.
Nothing. Hashtag it wasn't pistachio.
Yeah.
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 So you have a podcast where you provide lots of great info. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it? About that as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's called the Get Your Book Done podcast. We've been running it now. We're coming into our second year. So we're very excited about being able to share that great resource with people. And, we run it twice a month. We air twice monthly. And basically, I just bring in amazing experts, 99% of which are already published authors. And we talk about their journey of authorship, what they learned, what worked, and just, the specific nuance of wisdom that they can impart onto people that are on this journey, whether they're writing fiction, nonfiction, they've already written the book, they haven't started yet. We get rave reviews. People love the podcast because it always seems to give them just a little something they need to keep them going on that track.
That
So
is
yeah, you can find it on all the on all the platforms. Just Get Your Book Done
all right.
is the
Yeah.
name of the show.
As I should. I'm taking that in. Get my book. I will get my book done. Thank you. Okay, so how can people find you and all the amazing things that you do online?
Well, the easiest place to go is to getyourbookdone.com. That is our core website. You'll find the podcast there. You'll find information about our programs there. You'll find a link over to our publishing company there. Kapusha Publishing is the name of our publishing side of things. So getyourbookdone.com is the place to go. And if you want to get a taste of my Get Your Book Done program for free, we recently, early this year, started a free 7-day trial to go in and get through the first module and do some of the most important foundation laying work. You can learn more about that at freebookwritinghelp.com. It's 7 days of free access to just go in and work the program and get the foundation in place to help you write the best possible book that you can write. So yeah, getyourbookdone.com and then freebookwritinghelp.com. You'll be able to find a great free resource and everything you need in those two places.
Well, thank you for giving that to everybody watching. I know they are going to appreciate that so much. So thank you, Christine Kloser. You guys go check out all her stuff, listen to her podcast, write your book, get that book done. Thank you so much for joining Authority Marketing Live. I'm Melanie Hirschhorn, and I will see you next time.